Hey, 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 family. How are you? I hope you're well. It is a wonderful, beautiful Sunday rising here in gloomy New England, Massachusetts. It is your girl, Lachey. I'm back for another video. Thank you for tuning in again. We are on day 17 of this watermelon juice fast journey. And let me tell you, it has not been hard. I mean, why did I just say that? Because that was a lie. It has not been easy. Yesterday, I had cravings so intensified that I cried. And before I get into that, every video, every live stream is always sponsored by A Game Herbal. I am powered by plants and A Game Herbal. For your supply of A Game Herbal, to go to agameherbal.com and use my discount code LTaylor10. A Game has been a game changer for me on this lifestyle, on this cleansing journey, and it has helped in numerous ways. With that being said, on to day 17, day 16 was, like I said, I cried. I don't know if I cried for food or if I cried because of the emotion I was experiencing around that time that I wanted to stuff inside of me with whatever it was I was so-called craving. Oh, and let me correct myself. I was not crying for food because food don't make you cry because food don't give you cravings. But addictive food like drugs, those products that's mislabeled as food, that standard American diet junk, that stuff, those drugs, yeah, that will make you cry for it because it's still settled into our gut microbiome. Because prior to us transitioning into this lifestyle, we were consuming a lot of junk, a lot of unreal things that our bodies are just not biologically designed to metabolize. Therefore, it has restructured us and changed us on a genetic level, turned us into a bunch of GMOs ourselves, genetically modified human beings that have been programmed to make self-destructive food choices because real food is not addictive. And I always have to beat that into my brain, into the listener's brain, because we are on a rehabilitation journey, overcoming the addiction to fake processed food like products that we have been conditioned to believe is for human consumption because it is what we have eaten since our inception on this planet. We ate it when we were in our mother's bellies. We ate it when we drank her breast milk. We ate it when we were big enough to start consuming the food stuffs that we were fed by them because they didn't know any better. And if their parents ate that food stuff as well, it's like the generational consumption of poison, which is why it seems like every generation, um, every new generation are being born with more and more genetic weaknesses. The babies are getting sicker. The kids are developing cancers and stomach issues younger and younger. And it's been normalized. And we believe that it's just because we are these weak human beings and we just by happenstance get sick for no reason just because. But we live in a world where you are what you consume mentally. So whatever you consume through television, through music, through your social network, both on and offline, what you put in your body, the kind of liquids and beverages that you consume. We are literally just an amalgamation of the things that we put inside of us on a visual, audio, and physical format in all ways. So it's important to be mindful of all things that are being consumed, uh, both invisible and visible. With that being said, like yesterday was extremely hard, and I can't even lie to you guys. I didn't cave into the craving that I wanted, which was pasta. But to keep me from eating what I wanted, because that's how intense it was, I did end up eating a salad. And that's why I labeled this so hard transitioning into the new me. Because I know I could have just stayed the course. I know I could have just drank my watermelon. I even took a nap yesterday to overcome that intensified desire to eat something else. And then I was like, you know what? I really felt it in my spirit. I was going to make a bad choice. I was looking at menus. I was doing everything, but it really was because I was going through a crazy emotion. And I allowed myself to feel that emotion and let that emotion come up. But because I spent so much time thinking about eating before I took that nap, when I got up, I was still fixated on just like wanting something else. And I was like, so what would the version of me, my highest version of myself, now that I no longer eat earth junk, I just decided, you know what, I'll keep it raw. So I went to the store. I got um, a cucumber, a leafy green mixed salad, and some spring onions, those little green onions. And I made a hemp seed based dressing with fresh parsley, fresh chives, um, lemon juice, mustard seed, the mustard powder. What were they? I feel like I'm missing a core ingredient. All I know is actually it was all fresh ingredients. Everything was sourced freshly. It was actually quite delicious and super fresh. And when I was eating that salad, oh yeah, and I had a red bell pepper. It I didn't feel guilty about it. There was so much grace I was giving myself because I said, you know, the highest version of myself would be eating raw, will be eating tender leafy greens, will be eating, you know, high vibrational foods. And I told myself, you know, no matter what, I've been on this journey for quite some time now. I've been consistent every day, and everything has been living. And this is a lifestyle change, and it's progress and not perfection. And then I ended up making my new batch of watermelon juice for the following day because I still have watermelon juice left over from yesterday. And I'm back to keep on keeping on. I'm not even thinking about it. And it's something that, you know, I could have overcame, but it's not something that it doesn't serve me to beat myself up over eating a salad. Um, I still got up feeling really good. I'm well rested, but I keep on keeping on. I'm back to my watermelon juice. But the consistency aspect of it is, it's like I had to, like, there was a part of me yesterday that wanted to feel like a failure. And then I wouldn't allow myself, I had to really kind of talk myself through it. Like, listen, look at the perspective. I've been on all fruit for a month and I think 15 days at this point. And I've been fully raw this entire time. I've drank nothing but watermelon juice for 16 days until I had a salad. And you know what? Good job. The amount of discipline it takes to do that, and the fact that I am still recreating cells in my body with nothing but fruit, watermelon, and living foods, all, chef's kiss, the sun, I'm going to be okay with that. Yes, this is a challenge. It's a challenge. And with every challenge, we are meant to learn from the challenge. We are not meant to beat up on ourselves. We're not meant to judge ourselves harshly, especially if the choices that we are making are high vibrational choices in comparison to. So I am still really proud of myself of where I'm at in my journey. I am not resetting any clocks. I am on day 17 of juice fasting on watermelon because you don't lose the days that you did invest into yourself, that you did put into yourself, just because you went off of the program, you know, in a single time stamp, because time keeps moving. Time, you only get stuck in time when you can't get past uh an action that you did that you've attached a negative meaning to, and then you've judged yourself for it. Then you stay stuck there, and then you re-traumatize yourself, even though you're the one who defines it, you're the one who gives it the meaning. Why beat up on yourself? That makes zero sense. It's not productive. It doesn't do anything good for you. And that is something I learned on this journey for over the past 4 years since transitioning into raw veganism. Transitioning doesn't mean that, you can only transition for a year or two. And then after that, you're supposed to already be perfectly hardwired and programmed. I've been on this planet for 37 years. Majority of those years, I have been conditioned to eat animals. I've been conditioned to eat junk, potato, all types of flavored chips with all kinds of salts and sodium and monosodium glutamate and all of this takeout, Chinese food, Indian restaurants, Japanese restaurants, Thai food, Mexican food, um, just all that stuff. And we have been programmed to travel to eat. We've been programmed to have all of our important cultural traditions and celebrating birthdays and weddings and anniversaries, and all of this stuff is always centered around food culture. It's all about consumption, sitting around putting our hands to these things that we put hours of energy into creating just to stuff ourselves. And that's how we bond and connect with those around us. That is who and what we have been programmed to be over the course of our entire lives. So we cannot expect transitions into like better ways of living. Yeah, some people can just like learn something, better, you do better. Some people can just instantly turn on the do better switch because they know better. But some of us have genuine like addictive personalities and have different levels of things going on inside of us, different levels of traumas, different levels of emotional intelligence, just different levels of being. And it takes time, but what's important is that we put in those hours, that we punch in the clock of our self-development, punch in the clock of practicing those healthier habits without judgment, without overthinking, without being in our head, without resistance. And like the resistance gets weaker over time. You're going to resist in the beginning, especially because the level of addiction is higher. However, depending on your level of devotion to yourself and your why, and as long as you're consistent, you're never failing. You're always just experiencing and learning, making mistakes, and you're growing and you're failing forward. Like we just have to continue to get up every day and keep moving forward. And when something happens that goes against the program, it is on us to not judge ourselves for it. It is on us to just heighten our awareness of the state of mind, the our emotional state that we were at when we made those decisions. And it's on us to just be aware of it, oversee it in a very non-judgmental, objective way, step outside of yourself and really examine the behavior. And that's how you can learn from it. Otherwise, it's attaching a meaning to it, judging yourself harshly over a decision that you made, that was kind of rooted in behaviors that you have involved yourself in for your entire life. So you're really not doing anything wrong. You're just repeating a pattern that you have been conditioned to be. And now we are unconditioning, which is a process. It takes time, it takes repetition, it takes trying, it takes failing. That is what evolution is, right? So to detach meaning from it, take the judgment away from the behavior, observe it and say, oh, I get, that's why I did it. Now I can learn from this. And now when I am back in the situation again, that level of awareness will help you navigate around it or through it in a heightened way, heightened fashion, and it just in a more evolved state. But if we continue to remain victims of mistakes that we make and continue to replay patterns and say negative things to ourselves and about ourselves and beat ourselves up for simple things, then we'll never evolve beyond that one mistake that we made. That's how you stay stuck. That's how you feel like you can't grow. That's why you start developing feeling like there's something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. It takes time becoming who you want to be, transitioning into the new version of yourself. It takes repetition, but it is not helpful to shame yourself into new behavior, into evolution. You have to really love yourself through it. You have to. There's no other way. So, like, I am extremely grateful for this. Like, I really am feeling the metamorphosis, the mental and the physical and the spiritual shift from who I used to be and who I am becoming. Because another version of myself would really be on some like, damn, I'm really incapable of evolving. I keep making the same mistakes. I can't be perfect because I am comparing myself to other people's journeys. No. Be inspired by other people because you know that you know, okay, they set a bar. I know I'm capable of that because if they can do it, I damn sure can do it. But sometimes it's just levels. And when you're doing these types of challenges where you're overcoming the addiction to things and your lower desires and overcoming the desires of the flesh, and your spirit is really taking the wheel and navigating just the obstacles embedded within from the conditioning of our entire lifetime, like when you're going through that process, it's like you really are growing into, because you're doing it on a conscious level, you're being intentional about the growth. So don't compare yourself to other people and their journeys because you don't know where they were. All you can do is scale your own development and say, you know what, I'm far better off than what I was. And you realize that even when you do mess up, as far as being in alignment with what the intention that you set for yourself or the commitment that you set for yourself on a journey, you find yourself still making higher vibrational choices when you do have slip ups. You find yourself, instead of going and ordering a big cheesy nacho platter with extra meat on it, you're ordering like a rice and bean bowl loaded with vegetables and things of that sort. You're not doing like a tremendous amount of damage to your digestive system compared to what you could have been doing to it. Because even though you know you're not making a perfect choice based on what the goal you set out for yourself, you're still considering like least damaging options. You're still being mindful of what you do eat. You're keeping it plant-based. You're not, like, because it's so easy to swing from extremes when you're trying to be perfect. Like me, that's how I used to be. I would try to be perfect in these challenges. And then when I was incapable of being perfect at that time, based on where I was at mentally and emotionally, I would swing on the other side of the pendulum, the other side of the spectrum. I would go from being completely raw vegan, just 2 months of eating nothing but raw plants, and that was great. That was my goal. That's what I set out for myself. I struggled through it. It would be extremely hard. I barely enjoyed the process of doing it and being it because of the killing myself over even the thought of wanting something else. I felt like there was something wrong with me. You know what I mean? Like, now it's just like there is nothing wrong with being perfectly imperfect, because I literally just lost my thought. There's nothing wrong with being perfectly imperfect, because I would like try to be too perfect at one point. And then when I was imperfect, I beat myself up for it. I couldn't get past it mentally. And then I would end up punishing myself and going on the complete opposite end. That's where I was going with that. And then I would end up like eating seafood and, bread and, all kinds of processed crap, or I just double down on the vegan junk and but now but in hindsight, right, I had to go through all of that to get here. I did. I had to go through like even the beating up on myself phase, the hard, tough love on myself phase. Like I had to like go through that to suffer the mental decline that was attached to those experiences in that time of my health journey in order to evolve beyond it and to learn how to give myself grace. You really do have to go through the opposite spectrum of the way of being that you desire to be in order to get there. So I had to at one point be super hard on myself in order to learn how to love myself and to give myself grace during my imperfections. And now it's like the things that I desired to eat at that point in time. Like I was at the grocery store yesterday and I was walking through the aisles and I'm just looking at all of this junk on the shelves. Literally, Ritz crackers, all types of processed food, all types of processed chips and candies and snacks and bottled juices and all these things that like you're walking down an aisle and on both sides of one aisle, the breads or whatever it is, you already know in like a crazy way, and it's not even unrealistic. There's probably over 1 million ingredients. If you had to go through every product on a shelf in one aisle on both sides of a shelf and take one box and look at all the ingredients and go down to the next product and look at all the ingredients and go down to the next product, like the inventory of all of it, do an audit of the inventory of everything in one aisle, and then collectively count the ingredients for everything in that, it'd probably be over 1 million. I'm not working on a cookbook right now. I'm not even really eating anything that requires recipes because I'm doing the mono eating fast. But when I transition back into the real, like getting back into raw veganism, as far as like eating more salads and coming up with more recipes, I will be getting back into the cookbooks and the recipes. I do have a website with a blog. I do have one dressing recipe on there that I did. But yeah, before I lose my thought, hey Samantha, hey sis, enjoy your cereal because you gotta honor every Every anywhere you're at in your journey, you have to honor it because it's just all a part of the evolutionary process of the better choices that we will make. You have to always meet yourself where you're at. Yeah, many chemicals causing diseases. Absolutely, Sherry. And that's why it's so important to actually read ingredients when you're in the grocery store. But I was only mentioning that aisle because when I was like at the grocery store, I was looking for hemp seeds. So I couldn't find the hemp seeds. And I was just walking through aisle trying to see if I could find one grocery store didn't even have hemp seeds. So I had to go to another grocery store. But anyways, I was walking through these aisles and all you see is junk. And I was literally thinking to myself, I am so grateful that I have evolved beyond the desire to consume any of this crap. Like, even though I still struggle with addiction, I do not struggle with the addiction to Ritz crackers and to like into none of that processed stuff that's sent in boxes with millions. It's like I am evolved enough to know better, to not want to put something that overtly destructive into my body. Like, I'm grateful that I don't crave that kind of stuff. I am grateful for that. Um, but that's why eating out though, these restaurant foods and door dashing and stuff, that's a trap too. Because even though you consciously will not pick up certain things at a grocery store, does not mean that these restaurants will not uh purchase those products, like those sauces with those ingredients, and like barbecue sauces and sesame seed sauce, like these these flavors that we like to use as sauces on our noodles and things of that sort. We don't know what these restaurants are using to put on their food. So even though we won't sit up there and purchase that stuff when we go to the grocery store, they're probably using that stuff to flavor their menu items. And then we're ordering that stuff unconsciously just because we see pictures of it and the name of it. It's being marketed in a desirable way. And just because it's being cooked out of convenience and it's being cooked, we still think it's like a healthy option, but we don't know the kind of oils that they're using. We don't know the kind of sauces that they're using. We don't know the ingredients in those sauces. We don't know if it's being made from scratch. We don't know if it's coming from a bottle. We don't know if they're using frozen patties and the types of breads they're using, the ingredients in the breads. Like, we don't know. And that's why it's important, if you are going to cook your food, if you are going to eat any kind of like cooked food, it's best to just make it at home. Because the goal is not to be like this perfect person who only eats like fruit and raw vegan. Ultimately, depending on where you're at and what your desires and your personal goals are, the goal really is to just eat whole foods that lack all of these chemical ingredients and preservatives, so that we are not putting stuff in our body that we are forcing our organ systems to filter out junk, like chemicals. Like, our livers filter out all of the toxins that we put inside of our body. Our livers are so overburdened with the built up debris and toxicity from all the chemicals that we've consumed over the course of our lifetime that is not even really functioning at the capacity that it's supposed to keep our blood clean. But we continue to put that stuff in us anyways. Like, our pancreas, in this book that I have, I don't know how true it is, but it is a science-based and research-based book, The Enzyme Nutrition, the food enzyme concept by Dr. Edward Howell. This is a really interesting read. He talks about enzymes and he talks about the pancreas and how the pancreas produces all of the enzymes. So he says that you are born with all of the enzymes you're ever going to have. And our enzymes are used for every function of the body. Enzymes are used to repair the body, when it's going through, when it's going through any kind of destruction process, it restores and heals the body. It gives the body energy. uh, and there are digestive enzymes that help break down the things that we consume, the different types of food that we eat. There's different types of enzymes for different types of foods, for carbohydrates, for fats, for proteins. And he says that every enzyme that is used to not only repair the body and help regenerate its energy that's being consumed, there's also digestive enzymes to help break down the food that we eat. Now, we're always eating all kinds of stuff. So every time that you eat something, your pancreas is producing digestive enzymes if the food itself does not have its own digestive enzymes inside of it. So you are forcing this organ, the small organ that's on the left side of like this area, you're forcing that small organ to overproduce a digestive enzyme for every different type of thing that you consume, because it's part of the digestive process. But because we eat so much, we're overworking that organ. And that organ is also needed for the enzymes that's already just are pre-stored in there from the day we were born, that also needs to help repair the body and its other functions. So the average American eats so much in a day. They'll have 3 square meals, and then they'll have snacking in between, and then they're drinking sodas and soft drinks and alcohol and all of these things. An enzyme is required to break down all of that, and it takes 80% of our physical energy to actually digest everything that we have consumed. And if what we have consumed has a really long bowel transit time, like if you're eating meat, it can take up to 2 days for that meat to be processed. And meat doesn't even really digest in the gut, it putrefies. But anything else that we consume, if it takes a long time to digest and then we're eating that same type of thing multiple times a day, on top of all of the other crap that we put inside of us, we are constantly overworking that digestive system, which means we are taking 80% of our body's energy, which is basically its enzyme energy, taking 80% of it and forcing it to constantly be digesting, which means we are depleting our energy from our brains. You know, we still need to think, we still need to be creative, we still have to get ourselves around the world, to move, to get things accomplished, to go to work and do this. Then we wonder why we're tired all of the time. We're depleting our enzymes, and that's why people end up with certain kind of diseases like pancreatitis, and because like they'll literally enlarge the pancreas. It'll get so big because the pancreas has had to overcompensate. It like grows, because when we deplete it at this point, it's like just trying to keep up with the demand of its use. So we have to understand and learn the organ systems, because I think we'd have we'd put more respect on their name. You know, respectfully, we'd put some respect on that pancreas's name. We'd put some respect on that liver's name. We'd put some respect on that gastrointestinal system's name. We'd be putting some respect on these organs and what their functions are before we consume certain things. You know, we always know we're sacrificing our liver and taxing it when we take a shot of alcohol, when we're drinking an alcoholic beverage, and then we'll get up and complain about how we feel like crap and how we're so tired and how we need coffee and this and that. And we'll complain about these random symptoms in our body. Then we'll go to the hospital expecting them to know what's wrong with us, when in reality, inherently, we know what's wrong with us already. What's wrong with us is that we have an abusive relationship with fake products that we call food, and we are addicted to them, and we have to get real about that and just like have that awareness and then accept the fact that we have a problem, that we have an addiction to drugs that we call food, and that we have to be intentional about overcoming that addiction. Yoga says the enzyme thing makes sense. Like how when we are young, we can tolerate everything. As we age and deplete enzymes, we have the illusion of getting sicker. Oh, fact. Perfectly said. I have to pin that. It does make sense. It makes a lot of sense. The enzyme thing makes sense. I'm telling you, get this book. It opened my eyes. It literally, every time I eat something, I'm thinking about my pancreas and I'm thinking about enzymes. And that's why I still, no matter, even if I have imperfect eating patterns, like I'm allowing myself to eat things that's not good for me, I still always eat fruit every day, because fruit has digestive enzymes stored inside of it already. So eat your digestive enzymes and you are bypassing the pancreas. The pancreas isn't required. You're preserving that organ. Like, it's called the enzyme nutrition. It's called enzyme nutrition, the food enzyme concept. It's by Dr. Edward Howell. It's a really good read. And he has like scientific studies in here. Not only just studies, but like work that he has done in the laboratory. It's I'm about to reread this book. There's certain things that I want to know, kind of like I want to learn. I want to make this kind of information my second nature, because like I'll read it once and then I'll be like, I'll have like aha moments in my brain, and then I just start telling everybody about it. But I can really geek out on this kind of information, and it's so easy to internalize it when you're going through a health journey yourself. Like, I have a heightened respect for my body and the organ systems inside of my body while I'm on this health journey, and like in that good space mentally where I am actually implementing living healthy and fasting, or just eating all fruits, or being raw vegan. And then I'm getting into these books and it reinforces why I'm doing what I'm doing for myself. It's like, it's a reconditioning process. It's part of like unlearning everything that we've been taught, right? And then like we kind of are like these ground warriors, like putting out all this information that counteracts the information that's in these universities. Everyone who's got a degree in nutrition and these dietitians and all of this, like they have this arrogance because they have their degrees from these institutions. But a lot of these institutions were created, under the guise of conventional knowledge, which all started with funding from like the Rockefeller Foundation. And there's a lot of deception, and there's a lot of nefarious workings behind a lot of the conventional information and conventional knowledge that we have been given. And it's like we are these like new warriors, so to speak, who are going against everything that we've been taught to be like this, like absolute knowledge, absolute science, absolute fact. We're challenging that because we are going against what they say we need to do, and we're doing the exact opposite and seeing these miraculous things like our bodies regenerating, our bodies healing from a lot of the damage that's been done by the poisons and the toxins that we've been conditioned to eat. That we've been lied to about. Like you can eat a lot of this stuff and that come in boxes that are processed, like cereals and things of that sort, things from Kellogg's and General Mills. And, on the boxes, they'll sit here and tell you that it's got vitamin A, vitamin D, and, like, but it's a bunch of lies, because when you look at, it's like, okay, they'll say it's like fortified with these isolated nutrients that they've put inside of these chemicalized manufactured products with all of these colorings and things of that. So you got the dyes, and the yellow dyes, and the red 40s that are carcinogenic, that are they're neurotoxins, and they cause ADHD. And you have these kids that are basically little crackheads because they don't ever eat real food, especially if you're from a poor family living off of food stamps. Your parents can only afford to buy what's affordable. So you get like the big bags of fake cheap cereals, and you're getting like the ramen noodles, and you're getting all of these canned goods with all the aluminum, and just heavy on the sodium, and all this crap, the monosodium glutamate, the high fructose corn syrups, and then all these like weird additives, the maltodextrins. And these are things, kids that can't even live off of all the gelatins, and just like the gummy snacks, and the little packs of Cheez-Its, and the little Kool-Aid, squeeze it juices. These are things that kids are being raised on. The little bags of chips, the candies, the taffies. That is not food. Those are drugs. And they're filled with artificial sugars, and these kids get hyped up on that. And then they get used to it because it's so stimulating. And then you can't even feed your kids vegetables anymore. Now they don't like broccoli. Now they don't like any kind of fresh food. They can only eat the processed chicken nuggets. They can only eat the processed pre-frozen pizzas. Like, that's what you can only feed your kids, because you're feeding your kids trash. And a lot of us humans, like, we don't know any better, but some of us do. And then when we do know better, we still will make excuses. You could still live in the projects and still have some grass in the back. And seeds are cheap. You can buy seeds and start growing your own tomatoes and cucumbers. Do whatever you can in your own power to get some kind of fresh food in your kid's body, in your own body. But we sit here and say that we live in food deserts and all this stuff. And I know that's a reality for some people. Some people do live in food deserts, and there does need to be more accessibility. But I think that the solution isn't to get more supermarkets in the area. I think the solution is to start providing more education on how to grow for the zones that people are in. There needs to be more workshops about how to grow your own food. There has to be more accessibility to seeds. But seeds, they sell seeds at the dollar store for less than $1. They'd be like 35 cents, 50 cents a pack. Like, seeds are the most underrated consumer item. It's just like, and I'm guilty of not growing my own as well. I mean, I don't have an excuse. I live in an apartment. I don't have a yard, but I can start growing on my windowsills, and I'll challenge myself to do that. But there are solutions to this problem. There should be no such thing as food insecurity. Food insecurity is a myth. That is deception. That is a lack mentality. If we talk about the law of attraction, and we talk about how words are spells, when we believe and buy into these concepts of food insecurity, what they're saying is, in the food that they're saying there is an insecurity of isn't even really food. It's all processed, man-made food-like products that they are creating in manufacturing facilities. That's not even food, but they're saying because people have a lack of access to that crap that we have food insecurity. You cannot have food insecurity on Earth that has a regenerative ecological process. If you have dirt, if you have soil, if you have seeds, if you have water and you have sun, there's no such thing as food insecurity. Planting fruit trees is an easy solution to so-called food insecurity, because once you plant one fruit tree, that one fruit tree will reproduce fruit there forward, and then the fruit and those trees will have seeds in it, and then you just replant those seeds. We live on a regenerative planet, period. These are excuses. We don't have food insecurity. That's a myth. That's a mindset. Because real food regenerates. Real food have seeds. And even the food that they say is seedless has seeds in it. I've never bought a seedless watermelon that didn't have at least one seed inside of it. You actually need a seed to create or to grow a seedless anything. So we also have to stop hiding behind that. If that is all you have accessible to you, eating that is going to be better than eating a Chick-fil-A sandwich that has over 50 ingredients in one bite. Because that so-called fruit that y'all like to call GMO will still have hydration. It still grew from the earth. It still required the photosynthesis process in some way, shape, or form. It wasn't food grown in a laboratory. So we just have to be honest and be real and stop hiding behind excuses and stop always acting like it's the most hardest and difficult thing in the world to do better for ourselves. That's just the addict inside of us that don't want to change. Sorry, my nose is so itchy. And one thing I need to learn how to stop doing and just be appreciative of the hate online, because my channel on Facebook is growing really fast. I have another viral picture that I put up a couple of days on my 15th day of watermelon juice fasting. And once a picture goes viral, it opens you up to the opinions of the masses, right? How many people are hopping in my comments calling a juice fast, a temporary juice fast at that, right? Oh, that's how you lose muscle. If anything, right? You know how much muscle has been exposed in my arms since doing this? I actually feel stronger. I've been bringing 30, 40-pound, heavy, massive ass watermelons up 4 flights of stairs, and I will get 3 watermelons at a time. And I don't live with anybody. I do not have a man. I carry those massive, heavy water. I'm actually less winded now than when I started the juice fast. It's crazy. I feel stronger. Yesterday I was doing some yoga poses, and I was like squatting down, and I was like in this with my my elbows in between my inner thighs when I was like squatting down. My balance has improved so much. Usually I would tilt over before. I was just firm. And really all I've been doing is just drinking juice, watermelon juice. I'm telling you, like, I'm actually getting stronger. Everything that they're saying that I should be experiencing, losing muscle and all of this, it's like the exact opposite is happening. If anything, I'm losing fat. And the fat that I'm losing, the body does not eliminate anything that it needs when you're going through a fasted process. All the fat or even the muscle gained or built in my body prior to starting this process, a lot of it was built on rubbish, on processed toxic food-like products. So if that is what my body is eliminating while I am on a healing and cleansing and detoxification journey, then that is doing a service to me, because that means that as every day I get up and I regenerate and I change my biomolecular cellular structure with watermelon instead of a fake chicken sandwich or Beyond Burger or French fries, like muscle or fat gain from that kind of stuff, I'm actually releasing those fat cells. And all fat cells do is they store toxins. So yeah, you do need a certain percentage of body fat. But if that body fat is storing Cheez-Its, you know what I mean? Then you don't want it inside of you. You have to let it go. You have to be comfortable with the idea of deconstructing before reconstructing. You have to tear down before you can rebuild. And that means you have to be willing to get rid of what no longer serves you. Like, people get so scared of the weight loss and the muscle loss in a detoxification journey. They want to hold on to their toxicity so bad. Let it go. Just like how you believe in order to invite something new into your life, you have to be willing to let go of what you currently have because you have to make room for it. It works the same way with your body, especially if you have health issues. So stop trying to keep the toxicity gained when you was 21 years old and it was in the hip hop industry when every woman had to be thick or slim thick. So we was over here eating all kinds of fast food and eating all kinds of fried chicken and mac and cheese and yams and all this stuff so we can have a a booty from cornbread and yams and fried chicken. You know how we were conditioned culturally to eat a certain way to get thick. We used toxicity to gain weight so that we can be physically or to be sexually attracted or attractive to the opposite sex who wanted us to look that way. So we use toxic type of foods to build the kind of bodies that we have. And I get it. A lot of Black women don't want to lose their butt when they start a health journey. Oh, I want to lose weight, but I don't want to lose my butt. I want to keep my butt. I want to keep my thighs. I just need to lose this stomach. No, you need to lose your toxicity. You need to get comfortable with losing your toxicity, and you can rebuild however you are naturally designed to be built on real food. Now you can start using the avocados. You can start using some nuts and seeds and sprouts and alfalfa sprouts and all these types of things. And you work hard at the gym. Your greens, your tender leafy greens, bananas, fruit. Now you're starting to use real food to rebuild. And now on a cellular level, your organ systems, which are basically just cells, like your heart is just a combination of cells that is its cardiovascular system. And like your blood is made up of what you consume. Your kidneys are made up of what you consume. These are all cell systems, cellular systems in our body that keep us alive, that have its own unique functions, and they work in concert with each other. You know how they're organs, right? And like if you are into music, like the orchestra symphony, every instrument used, is like a different organ with its own tune and its own frequency. And it has like this beautiful symphony music, and it has like this harmonious sound that it creates with each other when you have the symphony orchestra, when they just do their thing together. That's literally our organ systems in our body. They all work harmoniously with each other to keep us alive. But we are so filled with toxins that we are just so imbalanced, and they're not harmoniously working the way that they're supposed to. Now they're degenerated. Now they're not functioning how they're supposed to. And the only way to get them that way is to allow the body to start creating new cells with real food, things that our bodies are designed to consume, things that have a faster bowel transit time, things that digest quickly, things that already have the digestive enzymes inside of it, so you're not overworking the organ systems. Respectfully. A lot of people think they are muscular or thick. They inflamed in reality. This is so true. That's all inflammation. And a lot of these booties would shrink if they would drop the inflammatory so-called foods. Yup. My butt is one of the first things I lost when I started eating all these fruits and stuff. But you can rebuild it. All you got to do is start doing squats, and you just got to build muscle in that area. You build your glutes. That's not even glutes. People don't have gluteus maximus. They have the gluteus maximus, whatever muscle is in there, and the rest of it is just fat. They're just genetically predisposed to carry a lot of fat in that area. So I'm not out here trying to look a certain way and be unhealthy just because it makes me more sexually attractive to some man who's also highly toxic and don't really care about his health. And then I get with him and lay down for him, and then he give me all kinds of uh yeast infections and stuff and throw off my pH. Like, that's my body communicating with me that that is an energetic mismatch. Like, it's going to be so hard going through this deliberate cleansing journey as a woman who actually comes from a history of like womb health issues, like reproductive health issues. Me really being intentional about healing my womb, me being intentional about cleaning my body on a cellular level, an intracellular level, like cleaning my blood, getting my organ systems to work how they were designed, just releasing all of this mucus out of my body. Like, I am going to be highly selective of who I allow to be with me. I'm at a point where I'm not even interested in a meat eating man. I'm just like, I'm putting in too much work to clean my body that if you're eating meat, like, you just got to be plant-based at this point. Like, I don't want no man who drinks alcohol. Nobody who's regularly consuming acid forming foods, and people who aren't health conscious and who don't try to make healthy choices. Right now, I'm not in the market for any man, but I do know that the standards that I uphold for myself, I'm going to uphold for the person that wants to be in my life. And I do believe as long as we are being true to ourselves and living in a way that is in alignment with our value systems, we are going to energetically attract who is meant to be in our life. And at this point, I don't want anybody who doesn't want me, for number one. And number two, it's about who I want. Like, when I think about like my younger years and I would go on dates, that little insecure part of me would always think, oh, I hope they like me. No, now it's like, I hope I like them. And that is a level of confidence and security that I have within myself, boundaries that I create for myself because of how hard I work on myself. What I'm going through emotionally to be where I'm at right now, to overcome addiction, to strengthen my spirit on a spiritual level, it's like I'm creating this, like, this fort, so to speak, this energetic shield, so to speak. And I'm not guarded by any stretch, but it's okay to have a standard that you personally uphold for yourself. So don't be afraid to say, and I know it's so hard to say that, like, as a man or a woman, to say that I only want somebody who is plant-based, because most people are not. So that already takes most men out of the dating pool for me. But then that means that I have to like want to try to change a man or influence them to be healthier with this and that. And I can be selective in that way because I'm single. I can see if you're married and you've been with your person before you started your health journey. Like, no, I would not expect them to change just because I feel like I had to, because I wanted to. I don't think you should leave your spouse because they live a certain way that you chose when you first got with them. But if you have genuinely grew apart and they don't respect your journey and they're growing jealous of you and or something like that, and you guys have just changed and grew apart, then, if that's what naturally happens, is what happens. One thing that happens when you change your frequency, you just get out of tune with some of the people that's been in your life. That's not a good thing or a bad thing. It doesn't make you better than them. It just means you're an energetic mismatch. It makes it hard to be around them, and it makes it hard for them to be around you. And that's like that's a reality I have to accept, that when I started making these changes, like, I subconsciously dropped a lot of people from my life. And then the fearful part of me wanted to go back to some of those people. But now I'm at a place where I'm okay. Like, it is what it is. Like, everything happens for a reason. That was the God in me saying that, no, this person is not for you. Like, this person was not meant to be your friend anymore, or your lover anymore, or whatever. You just have to just go. You have to stop resisting what is happening in front of you. And I'm learning so much in this journey. I'm learning how to accept myself for who I am becoming, not who I so-called am or was. I don't believe in staying the same, because I've always been like that. I am truly actively always trying to change for the better. I am always truly trying to learn from everything that I go through. I'm really trying to grow through what I go through, and not to see myself as a victim, but the architect of my life and the reason for why everything is happening, and being responsible for my own emotions, and being responsible for everything that I have created, good or bad, the stresses and all of it. But we are at the hour mark, and I'm in this live stream. And as mentioned before, every single one of these videos are always sponsored by A Game Herbal. A Game Herbal got me up today, filled me with that energy as soon as I took my capsule, and I got my yellow watermelon juice with me. So I'll be hydrating off of that and some more watermelon juice that I made yesterday. It is a new day. Lessons were learned yesterday, and I'm just here to move forward, and I encourage you to do the same. I love you guys, and I'll be back tomorrow with another update. Peace.